I am joined by former Ohio Senate Democratic Minority Leader Capri Cafaro. Good morning, and thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Good morning.
What is your sense of how the former president, Donald Trump, will be received today in East Palestine as they are dealing with that crisis?
Well, East Palestine is in Columbiana County, Ohio, and Columbiana County has traditionally been a Republican stronghold, at least over the last, 4 or 5 decades. Donald Trump has had significant success there, winning the county with over 71% of the vote in 2020. So it is clear, at least, that, he's a pretty popular figure in Columbiana County. So I would suspect the combination of his popularity, along with the fact that the Biden administration isn't particularly popular right now in regards to how they have responded to this disaster, maybe feeling that it's a little bit slow-rolled, even though they've made some progress in recent hours even. So I would think that he would be received well. However, it's easy for a challenger to an incumbent to come in and say, I would do this better. But because President Trump has already been in office, he does have a record that he needs to answer to, or at least it's something that people can compare to. And he has dealt with a number of disasters, from hurricanes to COVID. And of course, there's been wide reporting about the fact that the watered down 2014 rules that came out in the Obama administration on hazardous materials being transported by freight rail were repealed under the Trump administration. So it's a mixed bag. At best for his record, but I don't know how much the people of East Palestine will hold him to account, at least today.
Well, and East Palestine's mayor said he wants the current president to be there, said President Biden shouldn't have gone to Ukraine. He should be there right now. I was also having a discussion with a producer this morning about the significance of a current president actually visiting a place like this and whether or not he can actually just do things he needs to do without going there. So what do you make of an actual in-person visit, whether it be from Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, or from the current president? Do the folks from the federal government actually need to be there in order to do the things that are doing right by the folks of East Palestine?
Well, I think that there are two issues here at play. One is, yes, I would suspect that the federal government can take action without physically being on the ground. But it's not about that. It's about the people of East Palestine, the people of Ohio, and frankly, also Western Pennsylvania, who's in this mix too, feeling as if they're being heard. And I think it does make a difference when you see things for yourself with your own eyes. And, I think I've mentioned this on this program previously on this topic, that, our community, and I live, in sort of the greater community north of East Palestine, about 30 minutes. We're a community that has, by and large, felt as if we'd been neglected by government, neglected by corporate America. And so the fact that it's been, almost 3 weeks since this, disaster occurred, and we haven't seen the president of the United States nor the Secretary of Transportation, makes us feel once again neglected. So, President Biden has a job to do. He needs to be in Ukraine. But should he have been in East Palestine earlier? Probably. And I think that the people of East Palestine deserve the presence of the president and the Secretary of Transportation, given the severity of what's happened there.
And you mentioned Western Pennsylvania. We just heard yesterday from Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro there have been criminal referrals in Pennsylvania regarding this Norfolk Southern train derailment. We haven't heard anything like that from Ohio yet, but we will keep listening to see if we do. That's Capri Cafaro. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.